Welcome back to the Participation Trophy Podcast. This is episode 17. We're almost at a milestone, guys. Almost at that 20 episode mark.
Sure.
Let's hope we get there. We got the squad back up in here as usual. Jamal Smith, Zain Zaidi, our resident stepson, Neil Dalal. I am Abdullah Sharif. Quarterback in this bitch once again in place of Joe Glow. Fellas.
What up?
How's it going?
You know, usually on a show like this, like we're talking about a historic event, whether they're good or bad, right? Like you try to come up with some sort of metaphor or some sort of joke or analogy.
Man, this man is in AP language class right now.
Listen, at what point does
college board?
At what point does something become too serious to make a punchline out of? Like, dog.
I think if anything,
Capitol building.
Yeah, this will be the event not to make a joke about.
Everything in between is funny still, like the memes and all that shit that comes out of it, like, you know, people falling off walls and
the Pac-Man background music to it.
Yeah. The overall landscape of what's happening here, you know, the reality of what's happened. This shit ain't no joke, Jamal.
Nah, man.
Ain't no joke.
And the crazy shit is, you know, I've gotten my kids, my oldest son, particularly into politics a lot. I mean, I explained to him, you know, the organization of the three branches of government and, you know, what makes up the legislative branch and what these different milestones in the election process were in 2020. And I was explaining, you know, I had to keep the TV off as hard as it was Wednesday now?
Right.
Day after the pod.
This is the worst time to teach them that shit because all that just blow back in your face. Like,
but you know what? They'll remember this shit because it's so impactful, because it's so vivid. All these things are happening. So I was struggling to keep the TV off because my kids are working. They're working. You know, they're still doing remote learning and working at home. But I wanted to explain to my kids that in any other world, the certification of the election results by the vice president is a pretty rote, straightforward event.
Right.
But I let them know that, look, we've had this this huge disinformation campaign by the president regarding him being quote unquote cheated out of his victory that he claims he got. So what would normally be a pretty straightforward event has become, I don't know, last time I saw CNN heavily televised the certification of the process, the votes.
Never knew what happened in the past. Like, it just.
Yeah, it was, you know.
Who knew it happened so many weeks later?
Yeah, there were always
objections.
of
power,
right?
Like,
yeah.
We never talked about transition of power or ensuring or being hopeful that it's actually going to be a peaceful transition of power. Like,
sure.
These are all things that have become mainstream because of Trump.
Because of Trump.
Yeah.
So I knew, and I told you guys, I think last week when we were getting off, I said, well, if you have to go to DC, find something else to do that day.
Mm-hmm.
And I just knew, you know, having follow right-wing media as close as I do, I knew it was
go to PG County, go to Woodbridge.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be some shit on Wednesday. I just knew it. And Trump had his rhetoric. He said it would be, you know, quote unquote wild that day, and everybody come out and show your support. But nobody in their right mind. Well, I shouldn't even say that because FBI felt like, you know, I'm seeing some notes now. They felt like they knew something was going to happen. But the actual storming of and breaking into the Capitol and the fact that somebody got shot and killed in the U.S. Capitol, yeah, it didn't hit me for days, man. The videos didn't hit me. The Congress people on the floor having to kind of lock down in, you know, dark rooms and on the floor, the Senate chambers. None of that shit hit me until, you know, I started seeing a lot of things played back a few days later, and I'm still in disbelief that, you know, people literally broke windows out of the Capitol and, you know, fucking defiled the speaker's office. And you know, and for what benefit? I saw a tweet yesterday. It was like, so these people actually thought they would go and storm the Capitol and, you know, take hostage Mike Pence and whoever else was at the top of the hierarchy and force them to put Trump in office and then just fucking fly home.
Yeah, that's
like nothing
idiocy.
Happened. Yeah.
Now, Jamal, I feel very similar to you in that, you know, I feel like the day of, I tried to, you know, keep all of that out, block all of it out, not really look at it. And just, it was like, once I started seeing it over the next few days, it's just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
like all of these guys, John Wall, everybody, like it's ridiculous. It seems like it's a movie.
Yeah.
Because like this is this crap in White House Down where
Mhm.
Jamie Foxx's government is taking over. Like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. But
Stunning, man.
there's so many subplots too that are just ridiculous in and of itself. There's a massive super spreader event now from all
Yeah.
of the senators and people, Congress people
Mhm.
having to quarantine in one small space, and all these Republican senators and governors aren't wearing masks. And they're
Yeah.
refusing to put them on when they are offered them.
Refusing, mocking, wearing masks. There's no decorum anymore. You know, I felt like sometimes, not that it was right to campaign on bullshit like that, but I felt like, well, maybe you leave that behind when you actually get on the floor and have to actually, you know, work elbow to elbow with your constituents.
You know, as a child, when I went to a museum, how scared I was to kind of even try to cross over like a rope.
Yeah.
At a museum, like or stand out of line, or be in a space where it clearly says you're not allowed to be in.
Yeah.
Like some of these visuals and these videos and photos are absolutely, it's astonishing.
Yeah.
That scene of that dude that was punching into the window of the door,
Mhm.
where senators were, you know, seeking
Yeah.
refuge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? The one where he's punching
exactly.
around
Yeah,
the cop's head.
Yeah. I know
Like,
what you're talking about.
absolutely incredible. That
This might sound insensitive. It's funny, like Jamal saying, like, "Oh, it hit me." Like, it hasn't even hit me,
Sure.
and I don't think it will because I feel so numb
yeah.
to any of this. Like you said, somebody was killed, right? But like,
Multiple people.
I feel like I've been
died.
so used to seeing people being murdered on camera, like the last few years. It's a weird thing. It's kind of like you know what bothered me more, that I could not sleep that night and I just wanted to vomit, was the concept that this could happen,
Right.
and those people would still have some sort of, not excuse, but you know what I mean, right?
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
when you're arguing with someone and they know they're wrong, but they keep going with it and it pisses you off. This is like
I don't
that
necessarily
on a
know
scale
that
of
they know
millions.
they're
Here's the
wrong
thing.
though.
See,
They full heartedly believe this bullshit.
exactly. And see, here's the thing. And Zane, you always set me up so beautifully. This is why we're soulmates, right? Let's talk about hindsight, right? In hindsight, when we look back at the whole Trump election process and we started talking about his supporters and his followers, what did we think? What were we most fearful of would be the peak of Trump cult culture? It's this. It's this exactly.
Yeah.
Right? We were scared that we were merely scared of the fact that Trump wasn't gonna hand over power. It wasn't gonna have a peaceful transition of power. That's what we were afraid of. That just Trump wasn't gonna just fucking leave. That he was just gonna strap himself into the Oval Office and say, "I'm not fucking leaving." That's what we thought for a week was gonna be the worst of this whole process, right?
And as Flip Saunders says,
And like we got that 20. We got that 20-fold. We got the actual Trump mob. Fucking
yeah, I mean, I think what I meant, like, I know Neil said they actually believe it, but it's like, you know, I was on social media and there's that group of people where it's like, Trump's not that bad, he just says stupid shit, right?
Right.
But those people aren't going to come back and say, you know what, I was wrong. You know what I mean? He's clearly inciting domestic terrorism, right?
Right.
No one's fucking backtracking on that shit either.
No,
Sorry,
they're not. That's what I mean. It's just, this is Trump supporters. The majority of them, if not all of them, are exactly who we thought they were.
Yep.
And we let them off the hook and got them to the point where they stormed the fucking Capitol. Like, that was some fucking siege shit. Like, that was Olympus Has Fallen type shit, right?
Yeah.
Just
And it's the
last Korean warplanes. That's all.
it was also the last gasp of people who deep down inside knew there was no path forward for him to remain in power.
Yeah. Is a Mitt Romney following going to do that?
No.
Exactly, right? Like, it's just
Antifa.
Well, yeah, and Trumpism is and don't get me wrong, I mean, I have no problem with Trump supporters if you firmly believe that, you know, whatever. What I do have a problem with is, and I don't know, I mean, look, I'll be right with you, man. I've used to work with Trump supporters, and some were single issue voters that hoped and prayed that, you know, frankly, they were a little embarrassed to vote for him, but they felt like, maybe I want, you know, a conservative justice on the Supreme Court, or
right.
I would really
They thought
love
there
to
was going
have
to
a
be
tax
more
break.
Republican oversight
But you don't
Right,
think that
right.
changed? Like
I
that
get-
was the first 2 years or the year, and then that the standard completely flipped,
I absolutely believe that.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think the Trump supporters I know probably, and I don't work with them anymore, but I'm nearly certain they felt regret very quickly after they knew in the president. He's like, oh, this shit that he did campaign on was not an act. Like he actually did. He does want to implement these really radical and bigoted views. I always been saying like it's not enough for Trump to be defeated. We need Trumpism to be wiped out, and the machinations we're seeing now with the impeachment vote tomorrow and Schumer trying to rush in an impeachment trial. These are things that, are not so subtly set up to push him completely out of the political sphere, right? If we cut the head off, then maybe the body will follow. Now, we still have the problem of representatives in the House and even a few senators that are still carrying this Trumpism torch. People like Jim Jordan and fucking Ron Johnson and these guys.
And QAnon people in Congress.
QAnon people in Congress, Lauren Boebert, these are the people that refuse masks, right? When everything was going down. I don't know. I don't know.
Shit this evening too.
What's that?
She wouldn't allow herself to get wanded at the new security case at the Capitol.
But look, the movement of Trumpism, it's a cult of personality. But the very thing that drives Trumpism and conservative politics and conservative media writ large is the notion that something's being taken away from you.
Yes.
Right. It's all about a grievance.
Your
everything
civil liberties.
Yeah, everything thrives on a grievance.
Yeah, it's all big tech now. Today's big tech.
Big tech's the new thing, right?
Yeah.
It's not even new thing, but yeah, I mean that's the newest grievance of the week, and it'll be something else next week. And until it can never be eradicated because these things have been going on for decades, right? But
there's 70 billion to eradicate.
That's
the body.
That's a dangerous place, not only just in politics but in society in general. Some of the worst casualties we've seen on mass on domestic soil have been driven by grievances. Waco, Ruby Ridge, Oklahoma City bombing, right? So
every school shooting,
and it's up to, and the pessimists will say, well, that shit is going to go on no matter what. But I feel like Biden has this extreme challenge of trying to reach out to and bridge the gap with 70 plus million people, to Zane's point, that just don't give a fuck what he says. They want their leader in and nothing else. So I don't know, man. It was a wild fucking day last week.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I mean, while the Capitol building might have gotten toppled, there's another. We'll leave it at that. The Capitol building unfortunately almost got toppled over. And it didn't, but there was another institution in DC that did get toppled. The Washington football team. The playoffs, 7-9.
Playoffs.
NFC champion Washington football team. Still repping. Look at that. Got a throwback T-shirt on.
Look how excited Zane looks. Wow.
I'm just waiting for the
Zane might have gotten what he wanted though. A loss and a little hope.
Well, once you're in the playoffs and your draft's not freaking changing, I don't even care about.
19th overall locked in.
Yeah.
But either way, as much as I've been a critic of this process to get to the playoffs, that was the best way that I could have gone. They lost a close game. They didn't get completely outclassed.
They covered,
yes. And they found a guy who could at least start for you next season. Well, probably only next season, but
You like Heineken?
I like
Heineken.
He's good enough that I would tune in. I'm always tuned in. Obviously, I'm a Washington football fan, but something about him. He's a gamer, right? He reminded me a little bit of Romo in a way. I know that's probably sacrilege. A
lot of people said that though. A lot of people said that.
Yeah, just his escapability in the pocket.
Yeah.
He's got heart. So yeah, I like him.
What is he? Is he what, 6'1"? He's short.
Yeah, but not super duper like 5'10" short, but yeah, 6'1".
Yeah.
How did he end up in? I mean, I know this is Washington's his third team, I believe.
So I think it's a bunch, but so Heineke's 6'1". But so essentially last year he was with Carolina under Scott Turner and Ron Rivera.
And he got cut by Ron Rivera.
Right.
Oh,
But so he knew the offense. And supposedly I saw a tweet today that Scott Turner told him earlier in the season, hey, if we get in a quarterback pinch, make sure your phone's on you.
Mm.
So,
okay.
it worked out well. The quarantine quarterback is essentially how they first brought him on after the whole Denver situation where they lost everybody.
Yeah.
And,
He's a
hopefully
special case. I was reading more about this today. Obviously, we've seen flash in the pan performances, but
Yeah.
one, we don't usually see them in the playoffs, right? We don't usually
Right.
see them against a good team in the playoffs.
Right.
What we also don't see is that flash in the pan is not just a backup. He's a guy who couldn't even be a starter on an XFL team.
Right.
Mm.
Right. So
Those are
if he-
defining games. Yes, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, so it's like it's such a weird thing. It's very interesting. I'm very curious to see how it plays out in camp. If he would win the job in camp and how he would perform next season.
What it should do at the minimum is give him a guaranteed spot in camp to compete,
Sure.
not make
Yeah.
him the top. Right.
Yeah, the very
And
least.
guaranteed
Exactly what you
backup
said.
at worst case for him
It's a
somewhere
special
else.
case. Exactly. This is a special case where a guy. It's that feel good story, right?
it's that magic.
Yeah. Fourth string quarterback, what have you, whatever you want to call him, comes out in the playoffs and shows a lot of heart. That in itself shows you that this is a guy who could develop into something that, could just work his way, develop his way into getting more talent and showing up for any game.
Yeah.
So at the minimum, it gives you a spot to compete. So
The
whether
enthusiasm.
that impacts Washington's decision to look for a quarterback in free agency as hard as they might have anticipated to, who knows? What is Heineken? I'm going to call him Heineken.
Heineke.
Okay. No, Heineken's fun.
It is.
Is he signed into next year, or was he just on like a 1-year deal?
Well, I'm assuming they'll have to re-sign him, but I
Okay.
think he already said openly, he'd love to come back.
Of course he will.
But just the enthusiasm that Chase Young shows in him.
It's like getting a
That's-
blowjob on the first game. That might be best.
Exactly. Imagine having like 2 good games and saying,
Yeah.
you know what, I'm the ticket in free agency, motherfucker.
I'm
Yeah.
good,
Come to
man.
me.
I'm
Come to
good.
my house and listen.
That would be amazing.
5 good quarters, and he's like, all right.
Oh my god. No, he looked good. He looked good. He definitely has an argument for moving forward for what Washington might want to do at the quarterback position. Tom Brady now, 43 fucking years old, right? Didn't have a great game. Had a good enough game to win.
Didn't have a single mistake.
Huh?
He didn't have a single mistake.
Yeah, he didn't. But how would you rate the Washington defense in this game? Because considering that they've carried them for damn near every win that they've had.
Sure. And that's why they probably do get a pass, but that was probably arguably their worst game of the season.
Exactly. Ironically, on a night where they had a pretty
The
good
defense?
game offensively.
Like they gave up 500 yards and 31 points?
Yeah,
28
I know
points.
if you look at the numbers, but
Yeah, the 28 points didn't bother. I mean, I had a lot of friends too. They were like, "Oh, they gave up 28 points," but like in a playoff game against that level of talent,
Yeah.
The big
On a
plays,
roster-
though, really hurt. Brown, Godwin, those were daggers.
yes, there were huge plays. I just feel like they're plays
Godwin
that
had
are
a bad game.
inevitable.
He had like 4 drops, right? But he had that
He-
one touchdown.
I think it's your perspective. Like it's your perspective. Like I was very low on the Washington defense, no matter what. I felt like, oh, if they're number 2 in the league, it's okay. That's fine. That's relative to other teams. I don't think there's that many great defense, et cetera, et cetera. So I was pleased, but I also it kind of confirmed my feelings on the pass rush, which is like it's a good pass rush, but it's not. It's not the Giants. It's
Besides Deron Payne, who had a great game, I think.
Oh,
2 sacks and a forced fumble.
And we're talking about what, 23, 24-year-olds?
yeah, of course. I'm just not ready to. People have put them there already, right?
Sure.
And I'm just not ready.
I'm excited for next year for them.
Yeah, next year I think.
Dane, I wrote an article about the Redskins at the time, defense being elite last year.
Yes. Yeah, and I edited that one. Yeah, and I was like, there's something wrong with the title. It says the Redskins defense is elite.
Oh, I said no. I said they had the
Ba-dum-bum.
potential to be good,
Yes.
really good last year. Yeah, still jumped the gun. Still got a little ahead of myself.
Nah, I mean, it's fine. You're playing to your fan base.
He's a Dolphins fan.
Yeah, I see it how it is, and I still think that the Washington D-line, yeah, they're not elite. Of course, fans are worse than I am, they'll jump the gun and say they're elite. I think they like the idea of being elite. Who doesn't?
Yes.
But Washington D.C. sports, we love the idea
Yeah.
of being elite, right? Like
Yeah.
anything, any move.
Well, you know what it is?
Best backcourt in the league.
Wizards Twitter.
Yeah.
We'll get to the Wizards a little bit later, but Wizards Twitter, Jamal, will sell you on Allen Anderson. When the Wizards sign Allen Anderson, oh, shit, corner three's coming.
That man never played a game for
What a
them.
pull, man. Allen Anderson.
We sold Allen Anderson. We love the idea of being good, no matter who it is. Like, well,
Who it is?
Juan Blair.
Guy has 3 good
Juan Blair
games, and
was-
it's oh my god,
Yeah.
Playoffs.
Get it. So Tom Brady, 43 years old, and he ends up facing Drew Brees, who's 42, or going to be 42, like in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Senior Bowl and shit. But
Yeah.
where do you guys stand on these quarterbacks right now? I mean, they're playing. I don't think they're playing at the top of their game. Brady always seems to have it really good. His offensive line, him in the pocket, he's always on. He just always seems very untouched.
Yeah. He had all day, even last week.
That's it's just like that's being in a gold mine. Like for a 43-year-old to be untouched as much as Tom Brady is,
Mm-hmm.
he's fared well. Drew Brees.
Is Drew starting to hit his wall, or has he hit his wall?
Oh, he's hit his wall. Yeah.
I think he's gonna retire. That's like seems like
But see,
the thread.
this is a very interesting question for me. Tom's playing another year. We know that,
Yeah.
right? His first year with this new team, whatever. Drew Brees is definitely at a wall. He's not the player he used to be. His arm strength is not exactly where it used to be.
Yeah.
He
His
doesn't like
body.
to take as many
Accuracy.
hits.
Yeah.
But like, I'm curious because he can still play. You know,
Yeah.
I look at Philip Rivers and Big Ben as hitting walls to the point where I feel like they should be closer to retirement than somebody like Drew Brees. But it seems
Yeah.
to be the story is that Drew Brees is his last year.
Right.
I think
You-
honestly, he
Yeah.
just hasn't looked the part this year.
I think the trajectory of a quarterback's career and as it pertains to age, it's kind of like the lifespan of an actual human being. Like you either Drew Brees is letting it ride because he hasn't been, significantly injured. He can still throw. He's relatively healthy, right?
He's lived a healthy career.
Relatively.
Kind of like he's trying to die a natural death where he feels like, all right, this is the last time I can ever fucking throw a ball. Whereas somebody else, another quarterback at age 37, will get decked, and that's it. He's like, fuck this.
Do you think the fact that this is a pandemic year affects anybody's decision to want to play another year or have their last year be potentially
Possibly, yeah.
a normal year?
Yeah, that's a
I hadn't thought about that.
I just think it's such a grueling investment to say that you want to do another year.
yeah, it is. And people understate that. They underestimate that shit. When we talk about Andrew Luck and him retiring at 29, 30 years old,
Yeah.
outside of the Colts fan base who are
Not
livid,
even.
right? They're absolutely fucking livid. Everyone else kind of understood, like, this shit is fucking tough. Coming back from so
Yeah,
many.
but there's different personality types. I like.
There is. Yes.
Drew Brees is in the middle of it. Tom Brady's at the extreme where, like, if a motherfucker drops a pass, he's like death stare, like, oh my god, like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, he's
Aaron Rodgers has a
win
little
at
bit
all
of that
costs.
too.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers has had that. I feel like Aaron Rodgers just kind of not regressed, but going into this, you know what? It is what it is. They're not giving me that much help. Fuck it. I'm enjoying my time.
Aaron Rodgers has always carried that fucking demeanor, though. That nonchalant, like, I'm just here. I'm having a good time.
Well, there were reports in the past of him being an asshole, right? So I feel like those have died down a little bit.
What's going on behind the curtain, but yeah. So you got the Saints, Bucks. Who we got? Brady or Breeze? At this age, I'm going with Brady. I think the Saints look. The Bucks.
I
look
don't
good
know.
on
I whiffed on half my picks for wild card weekend. I can't call it. I have no idea.
Saints at home though.
Mm-hmm.
But what's home mean?
Kamara's killing it.
Yeah, Kamara. This is what I really wanted to see. The NFL really helped the Saints by putting their playoff game on Sunday. Because if it was on Saturday, Kamara wouldn't have played. The Bears are still horrendous, but
Well, if they played the Washington football team, they might have put it this Saturday.
there you go.
Okay.
I mean, this is going to be a marquee match. This is going to be a huge
Yeah.
ratings bonanza, for
Yeah.
lack of a better term. I got the Bucks
Yeah.
because it's funny. I was with one of my friends here, and we were looking for who to bet on, and we were just watching all the highlights. Bucks have really been underwhelming. They've been down in about 7-8 games this year. They got destroyed by the Saints last time the Saints played Tampa Bay. They lost 38-3. They didn't score a few points in the second half. But I saw the spread and it's only -3 Saints, and it seems too easy. So I'm going the Bucks.
Hmm.
It's really hard to beat a team 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Right.
Very
Good
difficult.
point. Yeah, good
I just think Brady is so keen, so sharp in the playoffs. Like I think he played a stellar game last week, and I think he's going to do it again. And I think the Bucks defense are going to, they're decent. They have talent there, so I think the Bucks will get the upset again. Not again, since they were favored last time.
To you, it might have been
Jamal, you got to give me a pick.
I'm going Bucks.
Bucks?
Yeah, just
I'm
put
going
it in pencil,
I'm
like
gonna
very,
go against
very
the
faint
grain.
pencil.
And the Saints come back and win 45-10.
I'm sorry. So you're going Bucks?
I am, yeah.
I'm gonna go Saints.
Wow.
It actually just sunk into me that the game is being played in New Orleans. I just feel like that home field, that Superdome factor, always, unless there's some weird, horrendous call or
Even without fans?
they got some fans though. Didn't they have some fans last week?
It's the South. I assume they have fans.
Yeah, maybe like
Doesn't give a fuck.
10K.
Yeah.
That Tennessee game, man. Not to jump ahead, but that should have like it was almost a
Yeah, it
sellout.
was popping. 13K people there.
That shit felt like a playoff game.
That Cleveland had a packed stadium. It seemed like. Speaking of Cleveland, they play. Who they play?
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
man.
Cleveland, this is for you.
Cleveland beat the brakes off Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh has some bad breaks.
I enjoyed that game thoroughly.
Me too, because I love Nick Chubb.
Gave me a chub watching that game.
Gave me a Chubb, yeah, absolutely. Nick Chubb is just your prototype running back, just in
You like his measurables?
backfield. You know I do.
You said his backfield?
So they play the Chiefs now. Chiefs had a week off. Baker Mayfield, can he match up to Patrick Mahomes? Can Cleveland's offense?
Can I match up to Lex Steele?
Yeah, right. This is kind of like Wizards speak, right? Can the Wizards offense outrun their opponent's offense? And that's what Cleveland's facing this week with Kansas City. It's like Kansas City's going to get there. They can run off 30 points in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
Is Baker and Jarvis Landry and
can he go bar for bar with Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
Bar for bar.
I think they got to hope that they win time of possession like 40-20 and just keep Mahomes on the sidelines.
If they beat them, they can beat anybody. That's my opinion. But I feel like they just played their Super Bowl.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
They just they crushed the Steelers. They defeated the COVID monster, in terms of the coaches being out. They defied a lot of odds. I think it's an emotional high that they're not going to be able to come down properly from.
I totally agree with that.
All right, so you got Chiefs, Neil, Chiefs. Jamal.
Chiefs, definitely. This is a pick I feel comfortable making.
Yeah, pretty much the same over here. Bills, Ravens. That should be a good one.
I think that's going to be a great game. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. Like, those are two arguably, top 5 quarterbacks?
Yeah. I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to start this off. The fucking Bills are good.
Mm-hmm. Stephon Diggs, baby.
I've watched these motherfuckers all season long. I didn't think I was going to plug the Dolphins in, but I got my chance somehow. Not in a positive manner, but the Dolphins had a top 3 defense, and they scored 56 points, 28 of them coming from their second team. They're well-coached, well-versed. Josh Allen is the shit. They can make it work with any running back. Devontae Freeman?
Devontae Freeman signed to the practice squad with Zach Moss injured.
Yeah. And so even Zach Moss, Singletary, these guys, they're average guys, but they make it fucking happen. Truth.
Josh Allen got Cole Beasley on second team All Pro.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm going Bills. I think Lamar's gonna have as good of a game as he can. But I don't think the Bills are gonna lose. I think the Bills are gonna give the Chiefs a good run for their money. They might beat the Chiefs too. But
yeah. I think Lamar in that offense, like Lamar is Baltimore's offense right now. Like when he rips off one of those 50-yard runs, it's magical and it's majestic. But Baltimore literally needs him to do that every single time for them to score. So I think Bills will win in a shootout.
I picked the Bills to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I'm sticking with that.
Okay.
So, definitely going Bills.
I thought the Bills didn't look good last week, and I thought the Ravens looked really good last week. But this is the NFL; nothing makes sense.
Evergreen
So,
tweet.
I think this week the Bills look like the team that played against Miami to an extent. Obviously, I don't think they're score that many points, but what I do think is they're going to have a lead and they're going to hold on to it, and Baltimore just doesn't have enough firepower.
Yep.
Packers, Rams.
So before we make our picks, I saw a funny thing about Washington's crazy path to potential like NFC East championship game. And it started with the Rams beating the Seahawks. And then the Rams going and beating the Packers because Sean McVay knows Matt LaFleur and he's going to somehow out game plan him to a victory. But with that being said, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be hell-bent on getting back to the Super Bowl. And there's no way he's going to say triple team Aaron Donald every fucking play. I don't care what it takes. Take him out of the game. And then we have a real chance. Jalen Ramsey versus Devontae Adams is going to be a hell of a matchup to watch.
Is Bakhtiari injured? Is he
Out.
in?
He's done.
He's out for the season.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, who's out for the season?
David Bakhtiari, their
The
left tackle.
That's all I'm in.
Is Aaron Donald healthy?
Nope.
Is he?
He's playing. He's not healthy.
He's playing. Okay.
He's torn rib cartilage.
God damn.
Yikes.
I'm gonna go A-Rod.
Terrible.
I'm an A-Rod stan. This is heavily emotional, this pick. So I really do want Aaron Rodgers back in the Super Bowl. I want him to finish his career with more than one ring. I think he deserves it more than any active quarterback right now. So I'm rooting for them hard. I don't want to see them lose, not to the Rams. So Green Bay, want to see Green Bay in the NFC Championship.
Yep. Also going Green Bay. Big Rodgers fan. Yep.
That's all he got. That's all he got.
I thought on paper this is a really bad matchup for Green Bay, only because they have one really good receiver. Jalen Ramsey is going to be able to limit him to a certain extent. Aaron Donald is, they were saying it on the broadcast that he's the greatest defensive player, especially defensive tackle that they've ever seen. It was Troy Aikman or the broadcast crew. Right. And internal pressure is a good way to beat a great quarterback, right? Getting pressure up the gut. And Sean McVay is a great coach. I think he can beat anybody. I think with the running game, they'd be able to control the clock, et cetera, but not this week. Jared Goff is not that. He's okay. He's not that good to begin with.
They literally didn't even start him last week.
They didn't start him last week, and when he played, he had some issues with his hand. Obviously, if he had surgery or stitches, whatever, he couldn't throw the ball for shit.
Yeah, he was like 4 or 14 to start the game or something.
Exactly. And I think the Packers are just not talented enough to go to the Super Bowl. But for this week, for me, that defense has to be feasting, to go up against a hurt quarterback who wouldn't be able to beat them by himself as is. So, and it's in Lambeau, man. Lambeau is just one of those places where.
Right. That's the big thing about locking up the one seed.
Yeah.
You cannot fuck around in Lambeau. I think Aaron Rodgers is his record in Lambeau is insane. It's really hard to beat Dylan there. And A-Rod, honestly, is just, come on. We have to give this. I know we give him credit, but we're watching, to me, one of the most skilled quarterbacks ever. Mm-hmm. And he's not going to win a Super Bowl, I don't think, but that's the shitty part about it. You still got to give him his credit.
Well, we'll have to just wait and see what happens. Got games on Saturday and Sunday. So we'll see. We'll see if football is going to be the only thing that's on this weekend, because the Wizards just got their game postponed for tomorrow night.
It's not looking good.
And
it's a domino effect now in the league, man.
Yeah. We'll switch over to basketball now. The Wizards, the last few teams that they played, have gone into some COVID and health protocol procedures.
It's I feel like it's always the day after the Wizards play.
Yeah, right. And it's weird.
We couldn't have Tatum out for the Boston game. You know what I mean?
It's absolutely been after every Wizards game, and it was only Neil. I'll give you your minute, but it was only time before we knew that this was going to come back to the Wizards and something was going to come up from one or more of the players. So
now
we know who. What's the insights?
It is crazy. It's changing by the hour. It's changing by the day. It's so unfortunate on so many different levels. Like Jamal was saying, literally it was last Sunday. They got the win over the Nets. Kevin Durant, boom, in mandatory quarantine for 7 days afterwards. They play the Sixers, boom, next day Seth Curry tests positive for the coronavirus. Is shown on the bench, having pulled down his mask, said something. He didn't know that he had it. No one's trying to spread it.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate. Boston, they play. Boom, Jason Tatum is out
the next day,
with quarantine, health and safety protocols. Literally the entire injury report that the teams have to submit to the league. 2/3 of it, 3/4 of it are people, health and safety protocol, and they're out.
Right.
Obviously, Bradley Beal, he had to miss the Miami game because he was in close contact with Jason Tatum, and they ruled him out the game. Still very ironic and
yeah. So the whole spectrum of things that we're talking about here, right? So this has only been with the Wizards. This has been happening across the board, across the league.
Right.
Philly could only start eight players a few days ago. A Boston game got postponed because they only had 7 or 8 guys available.
3 straight Boston games have been postponed.
So now what's the whole story about? And I saw the buzzword bubble on my timeline today. I was a little too busy to kind of figure out what was going on, but is there some sort of new proposal for some fashion of bubble or what? I mean,
no way, because that stuff takes way too much advanced planning and things like that.
I totally agree.
People are just trying to play devil's advocate and say, oh, they should have done a bubble. But one, that was never going to happen because the players would never agree to leave for 6-7 months.
They couldn't do it for 22 games. You're talking about games. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
But the NBA did announce new COVID protocols today, right?
They're stricter. But my problem is that they're trying to diminish risk as best they can, and I applaud them for that effort, but you're not going to be successful in that effort against COVID. We've learned that from now.
Ill for president.
They literally think that, and I get they're doing all the science and everything, but they are saying that during the course of a 48-minute contact sport, that you have a low risk of transferring it should you be positive and playing. That's crap. I don't care what the statistics tell you. If you sweat, slap somebody, and somebody accidentally rubs their eye, boom, they got it.
Yeah. This motherfucker's the Dr. Fauci of the NBA and shit.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, it's actually funny. I met Dr. Fauci when I was in high school, and it was dope as hell.
Of course you did. Listen, you butt down Dr. Fauci by accident. Listen, Dalal 2024, who's your vice president?
Andrew Yang.
Joe Buttigieg.
Yo,
look, getting back to the elephant in the room. Yes, Washington has no game tomorrow, but they're 3-8 now.
Correct. They are 3-8 because they rallied from the very tough news of Thomas Bryant partially tearing his ACL to get a big win against the Suns. They routed them. It's tough, dude. 23-year-old kid, full of energy.
Bryant's ghost like running on the floor with them, like
having a career year too.
Right?
It's sad, man.
Look, Neil, I feel like you have to talk us off the ledge, at least me, off the edge every week about, just kind of pulling a rug from under this team and starting over again. Give me some hope that, like, I don't know what to expect anymore. Clearly, we overshot the number of wins. The Russ thing, I mean, let's be frank, it's not looking good at all so far. We're down our starting center. Where's there to turn? What should we be looking for in terms of optimism?
So I might have thought about going on a rant about how it's all over this week, but maybe I'll save that for next week and see how things turn out. Okay. But I'll give you a little bit of hope. One thing, supposedly, and I say supposedly because why wouldn't you make this public available knowledge if it's truth? Russell Westbrook has been dealing with a left quad injury since training camp.
Here we go.
Stupid ass shit. And this is what I was going to tie back to earlier. This is how the Allen Anderson ankle injury started. This is how the Dwight Howard back injury started. That little subtle, it's the training camp injury. Okay, he'll come back from it. Turns into a big whole fucking thing that derails that player's entire year.
So hopefully are we looking at another, I feel like I'm having deja vu. It's another John Wall, like push it along and he needs to rest. And then all of a sudden he's out for the season. And because we're investing a lot of money in this guy and we just can't, we're not going to further damage him for the year? Is that what's coming? I feel like that's what we're getting set up for.
Yeah, like so essentially they said that he had that injury in training camp. So that at this point is 4 or 5 weeks ago. And then last Wednesday in Philadelphia, they said he got hit there again and essentially re-aggravated it. They've shut him down for this entire week. And then they're going to reevaluate him at the end of the week. But you know, some people just think it's a straight up tank at this point, but
You made it worse, Neil.
made what worse? They can't get any worse. The Wizards are terrible.
Wow.
Like they are before the Suns win, they were 2-8 and had the worst record in the NBA. And
They're
Russell
growing up,
Westbrook
man.
had 135
Growing up
points
fast.
on 135 shots.
Oh my god.
That's brutal.
Why don't you just hand Jamal a loaded gun?
Well,
Jamal, we also gave up a first round pick to trade away John Wall.
Yeah.
Wow.
I forgot about that. I really need to
everything that went against what could have happened. I don't even know how to put this into words. Everything bad that could have happened with this trade.
Murphy's Law, yeah, everything.
Flip Saunders. When you think it can't get worse, it can get worse.
Right.
It could definitely get worse.
And I'm talking from a personal perspective because when the trade happened, when the whole Wall Westbrook thing happened, we knew it was going to happen, right? Because of everything that was going on internally. We knew that John Wall was on his way out. There's no way he was going to coexist with that front office, yada, yada, yada.
With that ownership.
Right. And just knowing that reality and knowing that we were getting Westbrook back, who in return, no matter how bad Westbrook is or how much he's declined, on paper, what Russell Westbrook is, it's a sexy name on paper, right? So you kind of took that and said, okay, well, Westbrook has done this. He's just like Wall, if not better. He brings, a whole stand base with him. It'll give the Wizards more, exposure, blah, blah, blah. We didn't expect it to be this bad. Like the Wizards plus minus when Westbrook is on the floor, Neil, you might have that right off the top of your head.
Minus 7.3.
Yeah,
I'm just
minus something. Minus something. And he goes out. He's out the last game, and the Wizards all of a sudden look more fluid. They look like they're actually being coached. They're running plays. They're set offenses.
Like, I'll be very blunt about it.
Defense.
Whatever you want to say, if Russell Westbrook is injured or not, in the current state he is the third best Wizards point guard.
Right.
Raul Neto and Ish Smith are both better than him right now, and that showed against the Suns, and they just routed them.
This is a textbook Scott Brooks fake me out team, right? Where you got two superstars. You got two superstars who are taking 80 to 85% of the team's shots. Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, the game before last.
Those are the superstars you're talking about.
Yeah, those are the superstars I'm talking about. Yeah. But he's got a history of coaching those superstars the same way, right? Yeah. So that's what I was trying to get to. But with Westbrook and Beal on the floor, Scott Brooks, he's just letting them fly. They're taking 80 to 85% of the team's shot total is all Westbrook and Beal. Everyone else is totaling less than 7-8 shots at the most. All of a sudden, Westbrook's out, Beal's out, and they're passing the ball. More guys are getting shots. Davis Bertans, he's been hit or miss. He's a shooter. He's a pure shooter. So you've got your hot stretches, you got your cold stretches.
Speaking of Davis, it's pretty dope. You get paid to really just do one thing only.
Just do one thing.
Because it ain't defense.
Sweet. You get paid a lot of money to just fling that shit.
Shots.
Yeah.
The Wizards organization.
He shoots a 35-footer with 17 seconds on the shot clock, and you're like, that's a high percentage shot.
That shit he hit off the offensive rebound in the Phoenix game was crazy. Yeah.
Right. It was the offensive rebound off of a Garrison Matthews miss, and that was his 5th 3-pointer in a 4-minute span in the second quarter.
Neil, can you show us on the board?
I'm Kenny Smith. I'll go up to the big board and draw it out. That, if he can do that more regularly, and he's finally in shape, 5 threes in 4 minutes, that's Clay type shit.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Well, look, Neil. Okay, Neil. So, question. Let's say this doesn't get better, which the odds are it won't. Any possibility of Brad asking out?
So
before you
One thing-
answer, I mean,
It's
because
getting
there's not much
juicy.
left for him, huh?
It's getting juicy.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's that much left. That's always been my worry,
Yeah.
right? And I would rather almost rip the Band-Aid off now because this guy he's wasting his best years on a team that, frankly won't be a championship contender next season, even with a top pick. And I think he has a one year remaining, but it's a player option after this season.
So he has, and this is, I don't know how Tommy Shepard pulled it off because he signed that extension before the start of the previous season. He's still fully under contract for a season after this season. And then after that is his player option.
Then he can leave. Okay. All right.
So-
So I don't think the money's an issue with Brad. I think if a team wants him, they're going to just do whatever they can to get
Very
him.
team-friendly contract.
Yeah, he's that good. So is there a possibility? I mean, I feel like with the Bryant injury and, again, the team just being pure shit, I feel like there's a lot of GMs that are probably vulturing around Washington. What's your take on Brad's future in like February timeframe?
Yeah, it's so crazy. And the one thing that, I don't think anybody can ever fault Brad about is that he's been very loyal. He signed that little 1-and-1 extension with the Wizards he didn't need to. For no reason he needed to sign that, but he did. I think he's still willing to let this season play out a little bit. They can still win and be competitive in games, even without Thomas Bryant. That's a big, big blow. But they just smoked a Suns team that was 7-3 and looking very good. They can compete with anybody. We'll see how it plays out. That was
a very Washington win, though. We are really good for those types of wins.
But
I'm still very confused by Brad's outlook on things in Washington. I'm very confused.
He's loyal.
I think we broached on this last week, and I'm firm in my belief. Do I think Brad wants to win? Of course, I think Brad wants to win. Does he seem like the kind of guy who's going to demand a trade because they're not winning or contending? I don't know. I feel like as much as we talk about Scott Brooks letting it fly this way, I think that's what Brad likes. Right? Brad's able to showcase his talent. Brad's able to put up his numbers. I think the only reason that he would leave is because he would like to, one, put up his numbers the next 2 years, and also have other teams gush at him and tell them how much they want them on their team and be a part of the free agent process. Be single.
Okay, so Brad had the master plan to become a hot ticket.
It's not a master plan. It's more just like, hey, I'm in this offense. I get shots. I didn't make it to the All-Star team.
That's kind of what it is. It's like, okay, I got this opportunity to showcase everything.
And let's be real, he's showcasing everything and playing at the highest level.
He did last year too, right?
But even this year, he's taken another step, it seems like.
I get what you're saying, Zane, but it is a master plan. Like, he's basically saying, like, hey, I'm going to showcase everything I got for a team that's probably not going to win anyways, that I control. I can be here as long as I want. I can demand a trade tomorrow, and I'll be gone by Thursday, or I'm going to ride it out and keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to become a free agent anyways, and everyone's already going to know what's up.
There's no guarantee if you go to another team, if you're thinking like that, hey, I might have a better chance to win, but maybe I don't get to shoot 25, 30 shots a game and do my,
that'll be his decision to make. That he'll have that. He'll have
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But everybody's wired differently.
I think we'll see the organizational aspect of it is that Scott Brooks's contract is up at the end of the season. Supposedly Tommy Shepard's is as well. Is this a complete just bridge year and season, and then Ted Leonsis is going to clean house? Because if you aren't keeping Tommy Shepard next year,
yeah, exactly. I was going to say so many fucking bridges,
fucking Golden Gate
are around this fucking
But because if Tommy's not your GM of the future, you don't want him necessarily trading Brad mid-season. Right. You want somebody to come in next year and take that over. Brad is still going to have plenty of value next year. I think his value right now is at an all-time high. I think you could be getting 1 or 2 developing players and 2 or 3 first-round picks for him right now. He's that good.
Here's one thing that I wish, because as we're talking about the Wizards' immediate outlook and what's going to happen this summer with Tommy and everybody, I wish I got this feeling that there was a dedicated interest from the owner in the Wizards. I just don't feel that from Ted sometimes.
Oh, he loves the Capitals, though.
I know I know that, and that's part of why I feel the way I do.
Yep.
I just feel like there's no full-fledged investment by ownership to make this team better. I feel like it's a lot of winging. Ernie was here for 16 years. Tommy, the predecessor, was an easy hire, internal hire, right? And like Scott Brooks was like a hire by Ernie that
They tried to get KD. They ended up with the
no,
Russell Westbrook.
what I'm saying, yeah, Scott Brooks was just like a shoe-in hire, right? There was no competition. They hawked at him in Ernie's basement for like a week, so he didn't take any other interviews.
Right.
They gave him the DeAndre Jordan.
I just feel like these
Put the chair at the door.
get rich quick schemes that Ted,
Rich quick schemes.
yeah,
35 million.
Yeah.
that Ted takes with the Wizards. There's no real investment, no emotional investment. I want to feel that from Ted.
So you're saying it's like Herbalife.
I want to have a better. I'd have a better outlook personally for the Wizards if I got that from Ted, where I felt like he really has some sort of plan in place. We don't know what's going to happen with Tommy. We don't know what's going to happen with Brad long term, right? Russ was just to get Wall out of here, which was also dealt very poorly. I just don't get it, but we'll see how it all pans out. Who were the Wizards supposed to play tomorrow? Are they going to play them
They were
again?
supposed to play the Utah
Jazz.
Jazz, but they don't have the minimum 8 players to play the game. They
Okay.
are
So-
supposed to travel to Detroit to play against them on Friday. Who knows if that's going to happen?
Okay.
And then they
Okay.
were supposed to host Cleveland for a home back-to-back on Sunday and Monday.
Mm.
It's
So
all a
this
mess.
is a whole other setback right now that the Wizards are going to deal with. So when
Right.
they do get back on the floor, Russ is still not going to be there. Brad's going to be rusty. Thomas Bryant's out. We got fucking Robin Lopez, whack ass on the floor now.
Our pets' heads are falling off.
Uh,
I
So-
don't mind seeing Robin play a lot of minutes as much as I thought I was, but
you're quite
they
a
clearly got
concern.
him. Hey man, I always say I'm not going to watch some of the games, but I end up locking in. But it's tough to watch this team. It's tough, and I feel year after year the same way. Like I hate feeling like fucking down in the dumps this early in the season.
Well, at least it's a truncated season. We only get 70 some odd games instead of maybe less than that at this point than 82.
Yeah.
But hopefully things pan out for the best long term. That's what we're looking for.
We're also looking for Evan Mobley here next year.
No Cade Cunningham.
Is that it?
Cade is going to be out of our reach. I think Evan.
Hey,
is
you
the
never
man.
know. Some lottery winning.
Do the Wizards get top 5 next year?
You never know. You got to get rest in peace, Irene Poland. Got to
Yeah.
get that luck.
That's right.
It's not even game 10 where we're talking lottery talk, man. Fuck. Yo, somebody on Twitter a few weeks ago was like, it's only game 4 and we're getting MLK quotes.
Yeah.
Russ post on the street.
They
Oh,
just need a
man.
Heineke. They need a Heineke to
Only
come in and
game
save
4
them.
we're getting
Get some
fucking-
buzz going.
Huh?
I said they need a Heineke type of guy to just come out of nowhere.
Something.
They should
yeah.
sign Jeremy Lin and just be like, fuck it, take all the shots.
He's on the Warriors G League team.
Oh wow.
Jeremy
Just-
Lin?
Probably better than the Wizards.
Oh man! All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up right there with Open Gym. Only things can always go up, only go up with the Wizards. Let's go ahead and move on into to theater. Got some new HBO Max series is out now. Tiger Woods docuseries, Heaven's Gate, Jamal.
Yeah.
Episode 1 of the Tiger series. This was like 90 minutes long, man.
Yeah, man. It was
I thought
pretty.
I almost thought it was a 1 episode shit. Like they gonna wrap the whole shit up in 90 minutes.
It was good, man. I thought so. This is an HBO, I think, 2-part series. I'm not
Is it
100%
2
sure.
parts?
I think it's 2 parts. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and the
we're
way they
doing
paced out the first one.
90-minute shows and shit. Like I was like, oh,
Yeah,
shit.
the way they paced the
that was-
first one.
Yeah.
The way they paced the first one, it seems like it would only be 2.
Right.
The first one dealt with, Tiger's, from birth and how his dad noticed he had affinity for golf. I mean, like you said, his dad Tiger picked up his first club when he was 3 months old.
Yeah.
And he was only taking Tiger out of the high chair to, take little putts at the ball around the house.
They couldn't feed Tiger
Yeah.
unless he was watching his dad putt.
Yeah, man.
Because this motherfucker would zone out at 9 months old
Right, right.
watching golf balls
Side note: Tiger probably sucks at everything besides golf, right?
He probably does. No,
Like he
probably
like, he
does.
doesn't even know how to wrap the trash, like basic shit.
Wash the dishes, out of here.
So if every documentary has, I mean, it's told from the perspective of some, one of the subjects in a particular angle. So the theme of this one was really highlighting his dad's overbearing nature, his dad's adultery, which I learned about for the first time. Really both parents being, having their fucking grip on him so much that he didn't do anything else. I don't think he even really expressed interest in doing any other sports, any other activities. It was just really all golf all the time, to the point where he was socially hampered. And a good deal of the first part dealt with his ex-girlfriend from high school and like early college, and how she recognized right away, like, oh, this guy, I have a class with him. He's got the highest grade in the class, but he has no social skills. Like, he had no friends. Like, he unable to do anything other than fucking hit a golf ball. So she was pulling him into her family things and their Christmas parties, and he's in all these home movies, and he still looks stiff and out of place, but at least he's in a setting other than his home or a golf course. And that was holding up until his parents found out that he had a girlfriend. And there was a story about he came home, I think he's a freshman at Stanford. He was supposed to come home for the weekend. He told his parents he'd be there Saturday and Sunday. He came home, but he actually went to his girlfriend's house straight from school on a Friday and stayed with her. Parents found out. He comes back to the house, gets chewed the fuck out by his parents. Like, they saying all the worst shit possible. Like, you're gonna mess up your golf game. You're gonna get her pregnant. You're gonna have a child too early. Like all this just outlandish shit, right? And he ends up writing her a letter, and it was basically like, "Don't ever speak to me again." Like we need to cut off all communication because this is basically damaging. And she really wanted an explanation, but I think she deep down understood that, again, his parents had groomed him to be this golf savant, with nothing else around him, nothing else socially, nothing else really to help him along. So when he hits this point where he blows up, he wins his first major, and he gets this Nike contract. There was a scene where, Nike has this really rigorous media training program for all their athletes. You kind of saw a little bit of it in the Last Dance documentary when Michael Jordan went to the Nike, headquarters in Beaverton and was talked about the execs. And, there was a point where his dad, I think that's when their relationship kind of began to turn, because Tiger went from, this little child that I'm kind of, nursing with golf to, oh, he's an adult now that's able to handle his own decisions. Mm-hmm. And his dad didn't really care for the way that, he was going to lose his grip on, his image of Tiger and what he was supposed to represent. So what we see over the rest of that first episode was Tiger growing into his own as a star athlete, picking up endorsements and traveling more and, being in front of the cameras more. And his dad just couldn't really handle that. And then we, eventually found out deep down, it was so much more than just Tiger growing into his own as an athlete. It's also stuff that he, saw. His dad was giving young blonde women golfing lessons, driving the fucking RV up, driving it up there, and then going back to the, inside the Winnebago for cocktails afterward. So I think it was a kind of good combination of, Tiger growing up, learning how to socialize, having his own money,
right,
and finally being under that oppressive thumb of his parents that I think ultimately kind of had his relationship with his dad fizzle out to the point where his dad passed away.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I got a few thoughts, specifically as a father watching this shit, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the theme was about how Earl Woods was overbearing on Tiger, and you alluded to that a few times, and he certainly was. Mm-hmm. I thought it was kind of, awful how he wasn't allowing him to do anything else, be involved in any other sports, have a social life. But the way Earl talked about it, the way Earl described Tiger from the 3-month old age to 10 months old, where he actually picked up a club, to the footage of him being 2 years old and being able to, hit a ball with a driver and being able to hit a ball, putt a ball into a hole at age 2, and describing the legend that he was seeing develop. But then you look at it, that actually fucking happened. everything that Earl Woods foresaw happening to Tiger fucking happened, right?
Yeah,
It'd be a different story if we said like, oh, Earl Woods was smacking his 9-month-old around, talking about hit a golf club because I see it.
Joe Jackson type
right?
shit.
Joe Jackson
exactly.
Right. And then him like flaming out at 16, going to the Masters when he's 19 and getting fucking crushed. He fucking destroyed that shit, right? So everything that Earl Woods saw happen in his mind
transpired.
his son actually transpired, actually happened. And so part of me as a father, just if I were to see that sort of prodigy type shit in my kid at a young age, how overbearing would I be? Or how diligent would I be to make sure that they're focused on that one particular thing that I know is going to change the world? That's just all.
There's one. I think there's certain psychological factors that can alter or fracture a relationship in this scenario, right? Because the two main themes here are that one, you are holding your child back from partaking in certain things like dating, etc. But here you are doing, committing adultery, right?
Dirty
so there's a hypocrisy, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second thing, which I haven't seen the documentary, I have limited knowledge on the relationship, but what ends up happening is when you're a child, right, and you're being mentored by somebody older than you, no matter how good you are, you're still not better than your father. You're still not better than your mother, right? That person still has a leg up on you, an edge over you because you don't know everything, right? But then when you get to a point where you're Tiger fucking Woods and you're going to Nike and you're projected, to be the next Jack Nicklaus, and your father's still criticizing you or talking about your shortcomings, it's like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying it's valid. I'm just saying that is the mentality. It's just like
reality. That's what happens.
I've surpassed you, right? Not saying you would ever say that to your father or your whatever, but eventually you get to a point where it's like, there's nothing more you can give me other than being a freaking father, not being a coach, not being a trainer, not trying to advise me on what I've already accomplished.
I don't think there's any question that Earl Woods was overbearing, and extreme.
Yes,
on several levels. There's no doubt in that. For him to go to the extreme of depriving his child of a social life or being involved in other activities, that's too much. But what I'm saying is just at the bottom of it, just him seeing what Tiger could become. And he also infused a lot of other ideologies in him too, as well as the fact that he was black, right? Or the fact that he's going to be seen as black. I think that was a very strong moment in the episode where Tiger was kind of saying like, I don't like being identified as African American because I have all these other ethnicities
part of me
as well. But the strong point there was that Bryant Gumbel made, if you remember, Jamal, was that it doesn't matter what you call yourself. You're dark skinned and your dad is a quarter black. You're fucking black.
Yeah.
His dad was only a quarter black.
His dad was like a quarter black. Yeah, he's got Indian. He's got Hispanic. He's got a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Or he might be half, but whatever. He wasn't full black. But the point is that that's how Tiger Woods was going to be perceived and seen, and that stigma was going to be naturally placed on him because he is of black descent. I think that was a strong point of Earl Woods. One of the big positives. It kind of, as you kept on watching the episode, Earl Woods' stock was dropping real heavy,
precipitously.
The adultery, the overbearingness, all that shit. At the very beginning, the outlook that he had, the vision that he had for Tiger, not just as an athlete, but as a human being, as a black person, I thought was very, very important. And I think Tiger lived up to it. I think he encouraged Nike to take that angle when he first signed the deal.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah, and I forgot those were powerful ads. I mean, that's something that really broke the mold back in the day because a lot of Nike star athletes. I mean, let's be real, Michael Jordan and so on and so forth. Were fucking media creations. We're going to give you your talking points, and this is what you're going to represent. It's going to be very safe, and it's going to be very palatable to everybody. But Nike taking a race angle for their ad campaign for this up and coming star was pretty powerful. Only thing I want to say to close it is I'm curious to see how much of the Earl Woods adultery angle comes out in part 2 because we clearly know we know what's going to happen next. I mean, at the close of the first episode, they had this woman come out and sit on this stool with probably some of the most extensive plastic surgery in her face I've ever seen. And yeah, clearly they're launching into how everything took a dive for him. So I want to say that
question. I know we're close. We're wrapping this up. What is Tiger's involvement in this documentary?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
I mean, there aren't any interviews with him in the like
nothing in the present. No,
Okay.
nothing in the present. I think at most we see him, you know, practice some swings with some kids. You know, that
he
looks
seems
like
very private. So I'm actually curious when I watch this.
Yeah, everything was archival, old interviews. So I don't know. That's a really good question.
Horrible tipper, by the way.
In present interviews were mostly of his dad's friends.
Yeah.
I think that's all it was. Just
I
close.
think it was just dad's friends.
Even his mom's interviews were
seem a little dated.
Yeah, they're dated.
Yeah, but the dad's friend. You know, he was. Yeah. I mean, I would say watch to see what he said about his role in Tiger's life and how he felt like he fucked up for Tiger.
Yeah. What's fascinating about these sort of documentaries, kind of like The Last Dance, even though Last Dance was kind of took place, the setting, the 98, 99 season was more when I was 18, 19 years old. So I was kind of more in tune with it. Tiger was always a figure, a prominent figure in sports for me. I was 17 or 16 probably when Tiger blew up, when he won the Masters.
Yep.
So I wasn't really fully engaged, and it was golf too. I didn't give a fuck about golf in high school.
Yeah.
But you heard Tiger all the time. So watching the documentary now and just knowing all that was just behind it, always fascinating to me about what I really missed when it was happening. I mean, I don't know about you, Jamal, but you were probably you got like 2 years on me, so you.
Yeah. I was into high school to me when he blew up, and again, like I didn't give a fuck about golf, like you said, but. Seeing how much he dominated now in those courses and shit, and in fact, I firmly believe that golf is the hardest sport to learn. It's just extremely difficult. Extremely, like I dipped off of a course early because I was thinking it up that bad. Like it's that fucking tough. This ain't top golf. Like actually hitting the green is way different. So
so cheeseburger sliders halfway through.
Nah, man, those fucking
Korean wings.
Dude, I was shit on the golf course.
When you fuck up and have a bad hole, you can have a miserable hole.
Oh man.
Plus
I played in a charity tournament with my last company, and we played in groups of 3. And I thought that I was going to do a decent job. I couldn't do shit. Yeah. And there was one guy who played semi-regularly, and he would try to like prop me up each time I flubbed some shit, and I would hit it, and the shit go like 12 yards. And he'd be like, "Okay, I mean, we're gonna so what you might want to do is," I'm like, "Don't you don't have to butter me up, man. Like I know it's
he
bad."
gave you the Happy Gilmore jump.
Yeah, like I know it's bad.
Yeah.
I know it's bad.
We need to also just stop referring to things as just holes. I'm on my second drink in, and everything's out of context right now. So.
Oh shit, we need to move on.
Miserable hole to me means.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a fun week for documentaries on HBO Max because Tiger's one of them. One episode in Heaven's Gate. We got a few episodes of those, right? Four episodes in, some wacky cult shit.
Yeah, I've watched. This is something else that happened during my the mass suicide was my I think early teens or something. So this follows the Heaven's Gate cult. It's a religious cult that's somehow tied to like kind of space shit and mysticism. I'm about 3 episodes. I think 3 or 4 episodes in.
So these motherfuckers thought they were gonna die and end up in Mars and shit.
Oh, it's so fucking crazy. What I didn't know is that the cult started back like in the 70s, and it started with this guy. What's his name?
Theodore.
Yeah, real name Marshall Applewhite.
Okay.
Who was on his way to trying to become this trying to become an opera singer, and he fucking mentally like had a breakdown. And while he's like institutionalized, he meets this woman named Bonnie Nettles. Who she's not institutionalized. She actually works there, on the staff. She notices him, and they start this idea, this cult of people who want to leave all their earthly possessions and belongings and their identity on Earth and go, ascend into this other realm, this heaven realm. Without recapping everything, the things that jumped out to me are these people left their. It's one thing to leave maybe your immediate family in a particular area and move off and just go be with this cult. Some people were abandoning their families like children, like just up and leaving. Mommy's gone. You know, you're going to be taken care of by your grandmother, and I'm just going to go and, you know, do this shit. People were
crazy.
Yeah, abandoning all their, changing their appearance, or shaving their hair off, and, you know, all wearing the same things. And, you know, and all the time I wondered, like, I watch these things, like, who the fuck is paying for this shit? Like, these people aren't working anymore. Like, how is this being, because they didn't seem to be really scamming people for money. It was just more, you know, become part of this insular community. And, you know, with the promise that one day you'll go to this other realm. So it's wild. I mean, they showed how they got some really bad press, and they lost a lot of members at one point. But they still, this kind of core group of people stuck together. So I'm kind of getting to the point now where I think we're in like the 1980s, late 80s or so. Bonnie Nettles, a woman, the co-founder of Heaven's Gate, she died from cancer. So it's just really Major Applewhite, who goes by the name Doe, and how he's keeping this group together. So it's an interesting watch. Again, if you know the story and how it ends, you really want to know how the fuck they got to the point where everybody.
So all of what we're watching now is going to lead into this mass suicide episode.
Yeah. And I mean, if you remember the mass suicide, everybody died, I believe, with the same clothing.
The Wizards still? We're talking about the
Listen, that's gonna be fucking Wizards in a couple months.
Oh my God.
Same clothing, same shoes. I think same black blanket over their face and upper body.
What?
So, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how they got to that point. I mean,
which player on the Wizards would start a cult? Like, be like, you know?
Oh,
like,
definitely Robin Lopez.
Lopez, right? That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Sideshow Bob, man.
There's no hesitation about that.
Always just pulls out a torch out of nowhere and says,
"Yeah, just weird shit." Yeah.
Oh my.
So
God.
yeah, that's Heaven's Gate. So I'll get back into it. Only other thing I'm watching now, Your Honor. I fell asleep on the episode last night. I didn't really like the episode last night.
Who? Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Okay.
So that's the Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston joint. Okay.
Yeah, the Showtime series. But I'll catch up on that tomorrow. One thing I want to leave unrelated. I saw a post on Instagram today that Netflix is dropping 70 movies in the year 2021, with at least one movie a week. How the fuck they're doing that, I don't know.
Yep.
There's no way these will all be quality movies. But looking at some of the screen caps of the cast members in some of these movies, I mean, I'm seeing Leo. I saw Jonathan
Amy Adams,
Majors,
right?
who was Amy Adams.
I'm looking forward to that movie.
Yeah, Lil Rel, Eric Andre's and some shit.
I love Eric Andre.
Zendaya, who's extremely high right now. So we'll see what comes out of this.
There's also
call your password connect now.
Right, exactly.
HBO Max is doing the same thing. They're dropping a Denzel, Jared Leto, and Rami Malek movie at the end of January, it's a thriller, which I love, suspense thriller.
Yeah.
That's dropping at the end of the month, so be on the lookout for that.
All right,
I gotta just get these.
Looks like theater is going to be heavy for the next few weeks.
Oh yeah. I'm buckled in.
All right, well that's good news because we're trying to keep the tension heavy too, and as long as we got fucking Bamas like Chase Claypool and other members of the Steelers,
Hey,
talking shit after you still get clapped. I'm gonna use the word clapped.
8-0 in the first quarter.
Yeah. So Chase Claypool, he's a young dude. It's all good, man. Some of these motherfuckers don't know what they're talking about, and shit blows up without them intending it to.
Yeah.
Come on, right? Really, it was on TikTok. What do you expect?
Yeah, or TikTok. There you go. So Chase Claypool, after they get mollywopped by the Browns, Claypool responds to some question on this TikTok talking about, they're about to get clapped by the Chiefs next week anyways. To me, it's kind of like, as an athlete, like, what does that say about your team? You know, you just got clapped.
You're a sore loser.
And now you're protecting. You know, now you're clapped by another team.
Yeah.
What does that say about the Steelers? Like,
you just lost to a team without a head coach, bro. Be quiet. Be quiet.
It just, you know, I like Juju on the surface. I like his measurables. All right, you know, 6'3" guy.
I would love him on the Washington football team.
Wears nice suits. Got a couple moves, but
you
know, you're gonna talk all that shit about the Browns, and they get mollywopped by the Browns, and then you come back and say, I don't, I said what I said type. I hate that I said what I said type shit. Whenever somebody says I said what I said, they said something stupid.
That's just weak. Yeah.
Like on Twitter, somebody will say something stupid. They'll have like a whole, I'm muting this. I said what I said. Well, you said some dumb shit, bitch.
You better own it now.
So that's my detention candidate, Chase Claypool.
I think Chase announced a shoe deal today. I think he had a deal with Jumpman.
He deserves it. I like Chase, man.
Yeah, no, it's good too. But you're right. To your point, these are kids, man. These are fucking kids. Like
don't say, all right, whatever, man. They're gonna get clapped next week anyways. Like, motherfucker, they just clapped you.
But to Jamal's point,
you're talking about you're gonna get clapped by another team. Like,
to Jamal's point, they're younger than me at this point.
Yeah, man.
They're gonna get clapped anyways. You just got clapped.
Man, Abdullah is passionate.
Yeah, you seem easily upset. Man.
Yeah, all right.
I come back and clapping you and your boy.
What do you think? Yeah. Oh, that's your boy? You about to get clapped with him.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving.
Bro.
Mystery, the myth. The tall
Kyrie was
flat
trending for all the wrong reasons today. So last week he just left the team, right?
Personal reasons.
Just fucking bounce. Like
he might be in the next Heaven's Gate episode.
Dude, well, look, we all know Kyrie's got some weird shit off the court, but yeah, man, he was gone from the team for quote personal reasons for I think 3 games last week, and lo and behold, video services I think yesterday morning of him out at a club in West Orange, New Jersey, where he's from, for his sister's 30th birthday party. And before even people can fix their mouths to say, well, maybe it's an old video, motherfuckers are running forensics on this shit. I saw a guy do a 4.5-minute video on explaining why that was actually from this past weekend. Like he found his sister's name. He found the fit his sister was wearing. Follow her whole picture history. So yeah,
fuck that guy. That guy gets too much.
Yeah. So I mean, it was Kyrie's dad's and his sister's birthday. They both celebrated together. And, it was all the wrong shit, right? It was a party at a club. Everybody was maskless. Motherfuckers are blowing on cake, like dancing, like all that shit, all the wrong shit for right now. So Kyrie is under investigation now. Somebody's investigating. He's going to be away for a little while. But what I thought was funny is before the video was really blowing up, they talked to somebody on the Nets coaching staff, and they were like, oh, Kyrie's just off the grid. Like, that's just what
like it's right normal. Now. Like, oh yeah, it's fine.
He's just gone. Yeah, just extended absence for no reason. He needs some time away, which leads me to the bigger point. I don't know how much more pro basketball Kyrie's going to play. He seems like a very good candidate to have one of these Ricky Williams type of situations where he's just kind of over pro ball, man. The guy, look, his talent it speaks for itself. I think Kyrie's the best ball handler I've ever seen in fucking history. He's got a ring, and when he's on, he's fucking on. Like the dude is just incredible to watch. But I just, between him not wanting to play in the bubble and some other kind of things here and there, I feel like there's a different Kyrie story like every month or so. I don't know if he really wants to play ball anymore.
Yeah,
I don't think
that's a good angle to take. I think it's a valid one. But I think part of what you said, he can turn it on. He can play ball. He can turn it up whenever he wants, which immediately makes him valuable and makes him worth it. Right? Like you said, the guy, the Nets staff member, whoever it was, the assistant coach, very nonchalant. Kyrie just taking some time off. He probably knew exactly what Kyrie was doing. I want to quote Dragonfly Jones real quick. He had a good little comparison to this whole situation. He said, Kyrie's situation makes me think of one of my favorite Biggie stories. So Puff had banned smoking in Bad Boy's office. Big is at the office one day and lights up a blunt. Puff tells him, Big, there's no smoking in here. Big looks at Puff and says, fire me. And yeah, that's just how shit works. Like that's the angle I see.
Yeah.
And it's part of what you alluded to is Kyrie can turn it up, can do whatever he wants on the court.
So
Yeah.
you
And he
take.
could
Which has also been the downfall of
bullshit.
his as a player, right? I mean, I'm not saying he's not successful, not saying,
Mm.
you know,
Are you
that
saying he's not?
mentality.
Are you saying he's not as good as of a basketball player as he was once?
I think he's a fantastic basketball player, but he's not the kind of guy to me that if there was something he needed to do other than what he thinks he's great at or what he is great at to win, he wouldn't be able to do it. I think that just comes with the mentality of being so freaking gifted.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why he struggled with his teammates. I think that's why he struggled in Boston. But then the bigger point is whether or not he wants to play, which I don't think it's that important to him because he's so great at it. I think he maybe takes it for granted a little bit. That he clearly takes things very personally and emotionally.
Yeah.
It's the reason why he left LeBron. Once that chord was struck, I'm out. Right? We've seen with social justice issues where he's just like, I don't want to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've seen it with the absence might have been triggered by the events that happened recently on the news and politically, right? And also, obviously, Kobe was a big mentor to him. He passed away. I just think he's that kind of person. He just takes things very seriously, and when things happen like this, he's liable to just do his own thing,
Yeah. And it's for so long, and that could be the simplest explanation. And I probably overthought it because I always wonder at each team stop, what is it about the team constituency that Kyrie doesn't like? Like the LeBron thing was more easily explainable than the Boston thing. But maybe it's not about team constituency. Maybe it's just about him
in the moment
internalizing things. And, to your point, you got to take this shit that goes along with Kyrie being an exceptional player. You might have to deal with, spotty presence in general. And that's crazy to think about, but it could just really be that simple.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps landing him jobs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's that damn good, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, at this point,
now the question is though, I mean, if he keeps doing this and being absent, how is KD going to feel about this?
That's not good for the
that's
team.
That's the next shoe to drop. Yep.
There's no way I can feel that, everybody on the team is enjoying this. They don't know when he's coming back. Steve Nash is literally like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
that's
this
not
is
great.
clearly the difference between KD and Kyrie for all their similarities, whatever it might be. This is the difference. KD wants to win.
Yeah.
At any cost.
Yep.
Whether even it's joining a team that already could have won without him. Right? That is important to him. Doesn't matter how he gets it on his resume. He wants it on his resume. And Kyrie is showing cracks of, I might not care if I go back, or there's other things that are more important to me.
His career has already peaked.
Yeah, so sometimes I question this as well. We know KD and Kyrie's relationship as it's portrayed in media. Obviously, there's a layer beneath that we don't know, basically, in terms of how KD and Kyrie communicate their friendship off the court. Has he ever foresaw any of this happening? Like, how much does KD know about Kyrie and his antics and his certain characteristics where maybe it's not a big deal for KD? It gives KD more shots, right? So just looking at all of that, how much does KD really care about what Kyrie acts like?
Right now, it's we're 11 games in. What if whatever might have triggered this absence? What if this was
in the
before the playoffs? Would Kyrie Irving not have played? Would he have disappeared for a week?
Yeah,
are the
that's what I'm wondering.
Wizards gonna upset the 1 seed Nets because Kyrie's gone?
Yeah, maybe KD's like, but maybe he feels like Kyrie will get it together by the playoffs. We always hear like star players and what they really think about the regular season. They don't really give a fuck about it that much. So maybe Kyrie committed to like when it's really, really time to turn the shit on. Like I'm going to be present, but
yeah, my opinion on KD's perception of Kyrie outside of their relationship is that KD probably feels like he's somewhat of a black sheep of the NBA, and I feel like he thinks Kyrie has been the black sheep of the NBA in terms of media coverage. KD is always. It has triggered him so much to the point where he's openly came out and said, "You guys ride LeBron's dick," right? Essentially, right? And anything I do is on the fucking front page, and I'm this and I'm that.
Yeah.
And I think Kyrie has kind of dealt with that too, whether it's his fault or it's not. He's not a media darling. He's a guy who's always being criticized, and I feel like maybe that's the somewhat of the allure and traction of playing with a guy like that, or a relationship being formed. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think from a franchise's perspective, it's kind of like my marriage. Like when Miriam first met me, she was like, "It can't be that bad." Once I marry him, then teams look at Kyrie like, "It can't be that bad." Until they sign him, and it's like, "Fuck, man, this motherfucker's crazy."
Are you saying you're a ball handling like Kyrie? Is that what you're saying? That's the real.
We'll allow that context to flow however
That's
you
the
want.
title.
However you want it to.
Ball handling.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
Ball handling like.
Yeah. Every time she watches you in the kitchen, like, wow, I married this motherfucker. You do some crazy crossover or fucking fadeaway. Can't leave this motherfucker.
Oh shit! All right, man. Well,
I'm gonna build this bitch for like 2 weeks. Newborn baby. Oh, he's fine. I know where he is.
Oh my god. Well, I don't know if we're gonna see a Kyrie KD implosion on the sideline anytime soon. Who knows? But I do know we'll see more folks in detention as the weeks come on. There's still a presidential inauguration that's about to happen next week.
Oh yeah.
Who knows what the fuck is gonna lead up into that shit?
It seems like it's 5 months away. Just the way every day's been going. God help us
with this shit again, man.
Yeah.
I want to talk about good things, man. But either way, that's a wrap, man. We'll do it again next week. Episode 18. Joe Glow, get back up in here. We need you.
Sir.
And we'll close it out. Jamal, Neil, Zane, Abdullah, Participation Trophy Podcast. We out.
Wear your mask.